All right, so in this video, we're going to be talking about all things wavetables. So for those of you who don't know, I wanted to give a little bit of a history about the wavetable and talk about what it is and kind of what it isn't. So a wavetable is basically a collection or snapshot of various waveforms or slight changes in waveforms that you can move through over time with typically what's called a wavetable position knob. And that's seen right here inside of Serum on both of the oscillators. Now, I like to use this analogy. If you were ever in school and you were bored and you drew like a little flip, you made like a flip book where you drew a stick figure who might be jumping up and down or killing someone or punching someone, you know, that type of thing, and then you flip through it and it animated it. That's what's happening with a wavetable. Now, to actually animate and move through, you need to have more than one frame. Okay, so the default sound in Serum uses a single cycle waveform, which is essentially like a virtual analog waveform in, say, silent. And you can't move through anything. So if I play a note, nothing's happening, right? Well, let's load up an actual wavetable. Now, Serum comes with a bunch of wavetables, and you're going to see some things in here that you probably don't have in yours. That's because I've downloaded some free ones, and then some have come with different packs and that sort of stuff. But let's load up a wavetable that has more than one frame or more than one cycle. So let's go to this one where it says 4088. Now this one, so you can see the position starting at 1, and I've added an LFO to modulate through the positions of the different cycles of the wavetable. So if I just hold this down, this LFO at a rate of 1 bar is controlling that. So that's what's happening. Okay. Now let's go to another one real quick. There's acid, and I'll play a couple more here. Okay, I'm showing you this because what is the point of having wavetables and being able to move through the wavetable positions? Well, there's two different points in time in which you're making a sound where you're going to want to try to mess around with moving through wavetable positions. And to show you this, I'm going to pull up an actual patch. So let's pull up a chord patch that I made. Here's what it sounds like. All right, so if we look at what's going on here, we have two oscillators. Both of them have wavetables with multiple frames. And if we play this sound, I'm using oscillator A as a stagnant waveform, essentially, as just a virtual analog waveform. There's no movement occurring to it, right? If we watch this, you can see that this wavetable here on oscillator A, it's not going anywhere. Well, if we look at oscillator B on the single cycle view, and to get to the single cycle view, I'm just clicking on it, it's going to change because I'm moving between the cycles. That's what's adding that kind of like unstable stutter and glitch to it, right? And that's coming from a LFO synced to or attached, modulating the wavetable position. And if I do even more of at a greater depth, that is what's happening. Now, that's one of the main reasons why wavetable synthesis is unique. You can get that movement to it, right? Now, if I turn this off, we'll bypass this, the sound's going to be a lot more stagnant. Still a cool sound, but let's get the movement back in. And let's change the depth so it's not as much. It's kind of hard to put your finger on, but it just sounds really cool and fresh. And with a lead, with a pad, with a pluck, with a chord, it can add some really cool elements. So you can then use the wavetables, which is nice, in this fashion. Let's say you don't like this sound. Let's say you like that timbre to this sound more. Okay, you can kind of find new waveforms and just stay and post up on those waveforms. So there's two real-world examples of why being able to move through frames and cycles in a wavetable can impact a sound from a sound design and a production standpoint. So there is your crash course on wavetables and wavetable synthesis. The next video, we're going to be discussing 3 main types of wavetables. I'll see you there.